Hey there, and welcome to the first part in a 10-part series on getting your time, place, and life in order. And we're going to start off this week. This week is just going to be about back to the basics of organizing. You know, a lot of people struggle with different areas of organization. Some people say, well, they're very neat and tidy. Some people struggle with time. Some people are just overloaded with, too many things to do and just trying to balance it all. And so we're all at different seasons in our life. And so this last book that I've just created, Getting Your Time, Place, and Life in Order, I want to go through it with you and kind of give you some tips on getting organized. And also there's going to be included a lot of other stuff in here that I want to show you. So welcome for joining right now. So first of all, today's topic is going to be back to the basics of organizing. I like to keep things pretty simple. Now, one of the things is, I used to think is when you get organized, people would think, okay, you organize, that's it. And why should you get another organizer again? It's like, and so I like to share stories, and hey there. And so one of the stories I'm going to share is the fact that I've had plenty of clients who I've gotten them organized, and they call me up and they're like, yeah, Lisa, I'm a mess again and I'm really embarrassed. And you shouldn't be. Everybody's got their own gifting in life on what their strength is and what they can do. Like some people are really great with bookkeeping, not me. I have a person. But I had this, and it happens a lot. Once you get some systems set into your house, then organizing can become pretty easy. It really can. It's about setting up systems in place. And it's all about kind of taking the time. Now, sometimes people like to take the time with having me next to them, but I regress. So today is just going to be, we're just going to discuss basic tips on organizing. Okay. Now, in the next coming weeks, I have different categories. We'll talk about closets and pantries and meal prep and kind of the top areas that people say, yeah, I struggle with. So before you decide you're going to organize, you have to put it on your calendar. Now, whether you do a paper calendar or you do your calendar on your phone, you got to say, this is the day. Just like this is the day you're going to cook or whatever else you're going to do. You're going to put that time on your calendar and we'll go through it. You could start off with little 10, 15 minute increments, whatever you feel comfortable with. And basically the goal is, when I see it organizing, is the floors have to be clear. You don't want to trip and fall on anything. That's really a basic one, but it is something to think about. And then how do you do it? You just walk around and you go from room to room and you say, well, is this trash? What room does this belong in? And, what else are you going to do with it as far as putting it away? The other thing that I find is it's the countertops, whether the kitchen countertops. Now, that's going to be a big one later on that we'll talk about, the countertops in the bathroom and your floors. Those are kind of like those first three areas that we'll talk about today. So one of the things is that a lot of people, they avoid cleaning, or they'll say, I got to get this organized before I can clean. And it's true. So if you think about kind of taking everything off of a space, it really kind of mentally says, I'm taking it off this space. I'm going to wipe this. But when you take it off of that one area, it forces you into the mode of not just piling it up in another area, but look at it and say, does this need to go in the trash, or does this need to go in the kitchen? Or why am I keeping this anyway? And it really can be that simple. Now, if you have more time and once your surfaces are cleared and you can move around, the other thing is I like to think of a room as a clock. You kind of start from one position and you move your way around. Okay. So that way you don't get overwhelmed and you pick that. Now that's just about the organizing. We'll talk about cleaning and stuff later, but that's just organizing. And you want to keep your little pile simple. You can pre-advance have some containers, okay? One's going to be for your garbage can, for your trash, okay? And then you have one. I saw a lady, she had a laundry basket on one of these videos. I was watching it, and she pushed it around the house, and it made it easier to relocate the kids' toys or hairbrushes and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty good. Another thing is to have a bag or box that for things that you're going to donate. Things that you're not keeping, but you're not really throwing them away. And then once that kind of gets filled. Now for me, it's in my closet. Anytime there's something that I want to donate, I put it in there, whether it's something from the kitchen, whether it's some clothes, just anything that I'm really like, I declutter all the time. And you would think that that wouldn't be a problem. But we have consumerism. We do. And we get new things, when something else breaks or whatever we don't like it or whatever. And so once we get into that habit of saying, you know what, I just bought something new, what can I get rid of? You know, it really is a thing. Now, what I've been doing is sometimes I'll get rid of 2 or 3 items. And I started doing this around Thanksgiving time. I mean, I got grandkids. And so I found that, you know, you get through that season of all the toys and stuff, and you're like, oh, wow, we're back in that season. But seasons change, and there are always going to be different things happening. So now I have to make room for the granddaughter's toys, and then I'm getting a grandson in May. Okay, so now the next thing is when we're organizing and we've cleared our spaces, you can choose. And like I said, you can take as much time as you want. Sometimes 5-10 minutes is really amazing. So like once you've picked up the floor, you can pass the back. You can sweep or mop real quick. Swiffers are so wonderful. And this is not a commercial, but they are really wonderful. Same thing with wipes. You know, you clear off your kitchen counter and you wipe it off real quickly. Or you decide to clear off your dresser. One thing at a time, and it's like, okay, good. I did 2 things today. And it really helps because then you start getting into the rhythm. So far, if you have any questions, make sure you pop in there and you say that. So when you're organizing, another thing is, I had a lady say to me, putting things away. She says, well, what if I don't have a place? Well, that's a whole other story. And the way you're going to create a space for something, and we'll talk about it in the different subjects, but this is just kind of our first back to basics, is where do you need that item? Where should you put it away at? Now, scissors. Okay. This one lady said she had a whole bunch of scissors. Well, I got scissors too. And it's okay. So like in each room of the house, I'll say the kitchen or my office or even in my bedroom, I have an area that has one drawer that has like your nightstands, your pens, your scissors and stuff. And that way you put it back to where it belongs. You're just not leaving them everywhere. A little Post-it pad or something, and you can have it in one drawer in each area. And that way, that's putting things away. Another thing is establishing areas like in your kitchen. I have a coffee station. That's vital for me. Anybody who knows me knows I love coffee. And so I actually have a Lazy Susan in my kitchen where I keep my vitamins at. And I have a little checklist on which days I take which vitamins and what time. But I regress. The point is what something comes in, I know where I'm going to put it away at. And if I start at that time, sometimes I'm like, you know what, this isn't working for me. My life has changed. I just redid my pantry. Pull it all out, clean it, throw things away, wipe, new containers. I do like some cute containers, but you want them to be functional. Okay, so we're going to go into the next thing. And here again, I'm talking through my book, is people say, well, how long does it take? It really depends upon everybody on how long it takes. It's how much time do you want to give it? Because it doesn't have to be all done in one day. It doesn't. You can make it a new routine, and we'll talk about that later, of routines. Somebody says if it takes you 2 weeks to get into the middle of the forest, it could take you a little bit longer, you know, a little bit of time to get out of it. So you decide. And I've had people who say, well, Lisa, how long is it going to take for you to come and organize my closet? Well, I can't really tell you that. And I'm going to say why. It's like the container of Chinese fried rice, which you think will feed maybe one person, and you dump it out and it feels 5, you know. You know what that is with the Chinese fried rice. And so a lot has to do with your decisions on if you really have a lot of clutter, of how prepared are you to start releasing some items. So that's important too. And it's investing. Just like any kind of project you want to do, you have to decide that if this is really what you want to do to invest. Like I'm going to redo my laundry room. I'm going to put some cabinets. I saw this beautiful color green. But anyway, I regress as well. But it's taking time for any project. Okay, and then trust the process. Trust it. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't give up. Start with a small area. I've seen all those pictures that say, you know, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of all this and it's just, you know, no, start with a small area. Like, don't try to do too big of a spot. Practice on small areas. And what I have here in the books on Amazon, is I have here a checklist. And that way you can say, well, which areas am I going to work on first? Do you want to work on your home office space? Now, if you don't have a home office, you can call part of your kitchen a command center. You can create an area for that. paperwork and files. Everything's online, but you know what, guys? I still have paperwork. It is. I still, with tax time and stuff, I still have some paperwork. And then there's also young people still keep paperwork. Then you could talk about the junk drawer. How many junk drawers are you going to have, you know? And then we go into the kitchen cabinets and counters. So I just have all these different tips and ideas, and then you can kind of make notes yourself. Now for us, as far as like garages, because we'll be tackling that too. Garages are quite the thing. And for us who live in the South, we know the only time we tackle garages is from November to April. That's it. That's the cutoff because it's just too hot to get in there. And when you think about projects and any kind of outside projects, for example, gardening or something, and that's all part of getting things in order in your life. It's things that you want to do, things that you're going to take care of. So we'll be taking care of some things come March, because I'm going to be outside and you have to wait for the temperature to get warmer. So that's going to be pretty much it today for the basics of how to organize. And please, if you have any questions or any thoughts, then make it in there. Now, next week, I will go ahead and announce to you now, next week, and I'll put it all in the Facebook events, we're going to be talking about how to get rid of things, how to toss things, donate them, just some parameters. A lot of times I have people saying to me, they just need permission to let it go. They need somebody to give them permission that it's okay to release certain things. And I'm working with somebody right now, and it's a breather, because then it takes the guilt off of them of all the what ifs and worry. And so I'm always glad. So be sure to message me and stuff. And so thanks so much for joining in. This has been so much fun. Thank y'all.